Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. In ancient China's feudal society, men were always in a dominant position, while women generally held a low social status. During those times, men often pursued two paths in life. Some immersed themselves in studying the classics, aspiring to become strategists or celebrated scholars. Others galloped across ancient paths under the setting sun, dreaming of achieving great ambitions. From antiquity to the present, the rise and fall of dynasties have often revolved around men. However, during times of war, women's status became even more precarious, akin to floating duckweed, with no place to find shelter. History is rife with tales of beauties bringing calamity. Legendary women of great beauty were often blamed as the root cause of dynastic collapse. For these women, this was a heavy burden they could never escape. Chen Yuanyuan, a renowned figure of the late Ming dynasty, was one such woman. As a celebrated courtesan, her beauty captivated all who saw her. Wu Sangui fell in love with her at first sight, while Lu Zongmin, a general under rebel leader Li Zicheng, made a fatal mistake because of her. Her unparalleled beauty not only enchanted two historical figures but also indirectly triggered an event that altered the course of history. Had Lu Zongmin not forcibly taken Chen Yuanyuan, Wu Sangui might not have defected to the Qing. Consequently, the Qing army's conquest of central China might have been delayed by decades. Yet, because of her, everything was irrevocably changed. Early life of Chen Yuanyuan. According to historical records, Chen Yuanyuan's original surname was Xing, and her given name was Yuan, styled Yuanyuan and also Wanfang. Orphaned at a young age, she was raised by her aunt. Her uncle, whose surname was Chen, adopted her, and she took his surname. The family eventually settled in Suzhou's Taowawu district. Chen Yuanyuan was a famous courtesan of the Ming dynasty, celebrated for her exceptional talents and beauty, earning her a place among the 8 beauties of Qinhuai. When Chen Yuanyuan was 10 years old, her aunt's family faced financial hardship during years of poor harvests in Jiangnan. Her uncle, seeking profit, sold her to a local opera troupe in Suzhou. In the troupe, Chen Yuanyuan displayed remarkable artistic talent, excelling in Yang opera. She was particularly renowned for her role as Hongyang in Romance of the Western Chamber. When she first performed on stage, dressed in elaborate costumes and styled with a unique wajuoji hairstyle, she looked as radiant as clouds emerging from a mountain peak. Stunningly beautiful. Her voice was melodious and crisp, her singing as captivating as an aureole emerging from the valley. The audience held their breath in awe, deeply entranced by her performance. Chen Yuanyuan quickly gained fame in Jiangnan, becoming known for her elegance and refined demeanor. She was described as possessing a graceful demeanor and a prominent forehead with a full chin, exuding a scholarly air. Every time she performed, she dazzled her audience, leaving them utterly captivated. Chen Yuanyuan's encounter with the imperial court. In the spring of 1642, the 15th year of the Chongzhen Emperor's reign, one of his consorts, Lady Tian, feared losing favor due to her advancing age. She instructed her father, Tianhong, to select beauties from Jiangnan to win the emperor's favor. Upon meeting Chen Yuanyuan, who was both talented and beautiful, Tianhong paid a large sum to redeem her and adopted her as his foster daughter, bringing her to the capital. Through Lady Tian's arrangements, Chen Yuanyuan was presented at court. However, by that time, the Ming dynasty was on the verge of collapse. Emperor Chongzhen, exhausted by state affairs, had no time for leisure. Despite her extraordinary beauty, Chen Yuanyuan failed to capture the emperor's attention and left the palace after 3 months, returning to the Tian household. Chen Yuanyuan and Wu Sangui. Chen Yuanyuan's beauty and talents earned her the favor of Tianhong, but he gradually fell out of power amid the chaotic times. seeking to secure his position. Qianlong tried to establish connections with Wu Sangui, a prominent general commanding significant forces. Qianlong invited Wu Sangui to a banquet at his residence, where he showcased a troupe of talented performers. Among them was a lightly adorned beauty, leading the others with her grace and captivating presence. That beauty was none other than Chen Yuanyuan. Wu Sangui was deeply moved by her extraordinary beauty, and his heart wavered. To strengthen ties with Wu Sangui, Qianlong gifted Chen Yuanyuan to him along with a generous dowry. Chen Yuanyuan became Wu Sangui's concubine, and he adored her deeply. The turning point. In 1644, Li Zicheng's rebel forces captured Beijing, prompting the collapse of the Ming dynasty. Emperor Chongzhen hanged himself on Maishan Hill. Initially, Wu Sangui planned to march into Beijing to support the Ming court. However, facing the threat of the Manchu army from the north, he hesitated. During this turbulent period, Lu Zongmin, a general under Li Zicheng, forcibly took Chen Yuanyuan. This act enraged Wu Sangui, leading him to open Shanhaiguan Pass to the Manchu forces, allowing the Qing army to enter central China. This decision marked a pivotal moment in Chinese history, facilitating the Qing dynasty's establishment and altering the fate of the nation. Chen Yuanyuan's beauty, once a source of admiration, thus became entangled in a historical tragedy, forever linking her name to the fall of a dynasty. After the fall of the Ming dynasty, Wu Sangui initially sought to ally with Li Zicheng to resist the Manchu invasion. However, news soon reached him that Li Zicheng's general Lu Zongmin had plundered Wu's estate and abducted Chen Yuanyuan, a beloved concubine of Wu Sangui. Enraged and losing all rationality, Wu opened the gates of Shanhai Pass, allowing the Qing army to enter and forging an alliance with them. This decision led to the Qing army sweeping across the Central Plains, bringing China under foreign rule once more. As a result, Chen Yuanyuan was burdened with the infamous reputation of being a femme fatale during the conflict between Wu Sangui and Li Zicheng. The Qing army provided significant support, ultimately leading to the defeat of the peasant forces. Amid the chaos, Chen Yuanyuan returned to Wu Sangui. Thereafter, she accompanied him in his campaigns across the country, witnessing the Qing army's unification of China. Wu Sangui was later granted the title, Prince of Pingxi, King who pacifies the West. Chen Yuanyuan entered the prince's residence and became one of his most favored women. Wu Sangui's constant affection for her allowed her to enjoy a relatively stable life amidst the turbulent times. In the 12th year of Kangxi's reign, 1673, Shang Keshi, the prince of Pingnan who guarded Guangdong, submitted a request to retire and return to Liaodong. Seizing this opportunity, Emperor Kangxi decided to relocate Shang Keshi's fief, aiming to weaken the power of the feudal lords. Soon after, Geng Jingzhong, the prince of Jingnan stationed in Fujian, also requested the abolition of his fief, which Kangxi approved. These moves clarified the imperial stance, forcing Wu Sangui to take a position. Pretending to follow suit, he submitted a request to abolish his fief, hoping the court would reject it and thereby secure his power. Emperor Kangxi, however, saw through Wu's intentions, knowing that the latter was already in irreconcilable conflict with the Qing court. Kangxi remarked, "If we abolish his fief, he will rebel; if we do not, he will still rebel. Better to strike first and gain the initiative." Resolutely, Kangxi approved Wu's request and sent envoys to Yunnan to expedite the abolition process. In November of that same year, Wu Sangui dropped all pretense, killed Yunnan's provincial governor Zhu Guozhi, and declared himself Grand Marshal of all armies under heaven, raising the banner of "Revive Ming and expel the Qing" as he openly rebelled. Having ruled Yunnan with an iron grip for 14 years, Wu's forces proved formidable. His army swiftly occupied the entirety of Guizhou and captured Hangzhou in Hunan. Meanwhile, the feudal forces of Geng Jingzhong in Fujian, Shangji in Guangdong. And Wu's partisans in Sichuan, e.g., Zhengjiaolin, Tanhong, Wuzhimao, Guangxi, e.g., Luosen, Sun Yanling, Shangxi, e.g., Wang Fuchen. And Hunan, e.g., Kai Lu, responded to his call. The rebellion gained significant momentum, placing Wu Sangui in a highly advantageous position. On the first day of the third month of the 17th year of Kangxi's reign, 1678, Wu Sangui declared himself emperor in Hangzhou, renaming it Dingtianfu, capital of Heaven's Order. He also renamed the city's streets and gates in the style of Beijing, such as renaming the Drum and Bell Tower as Five Phoenix Tower and the Huiyan Gate as Zhengyang Gate. The main thoroughfare was dubbed Chessport Street. Wu conferred the title of Empress on his wife. Lady Zhang designated his grandson Wu Shifan as Crown Prince. Appointed officials introduced a new calendar and minted coins named Zhaowu Tongbao and Liong Tongbao. However, on the day of his enthronement, violent winds tore apart the temporary imperial tents, a foreboding omen that seemed to foreshadow the fleeting nature of his reign. Undeterred, Wu held provincial examinations later in August in Yunnan, Guizhou, Sichuan, and Hunan, admitting 73 scholars in an attempt to legitimize his regime. Despite Wu Sangui's initial successes, Emperor Kangxi mobilized national forces. After 8 years of arduous warfare, the rebellion was fully suppressed by the 20th year of Kangxi's reign, 1681. In these campaigns, the Qing forces repeatedly concentrated superior numbers to dismantle the rebel army, ultimately defeating Wu's forces one by one. Wu Sangui himself did not live to see the rebellion's conclusion. Just 5 months after proclaiming himself emperor, he died of illness. The suppression of the rebellion not only solidified Qing rule but also marked the end of China's history of feudal separatism. After Wu Sangui's death, Chen Yuanyuan chose to renounce worldly life and became a Buddhist nun. Under the protection of General Ma Bao, she initially lived in a thatched hut along the Longyao River. The location was perilous, surrounded by cliffs and dense forests, providing a secluded refuge. However, frequent encounters with wild animals and a lack of food made life extremely difficult. Forced to relocate, Chen and her family wandered between different settlements in search of shelter. During her seclusion, Chen Yuanyuan suffered from intense grief over Wu Sangui's death. Coupled with the burdens of providing for her family, she developed severe headaches. Her condition worsened over time, with increasingly frequent and debilitating episodes that sometimes caused her to faint. In August of the 28th year of Kangxi's reign, while chanting Buddhist scriptures, Chen Yuanyuan suddenly collapsed and passed away, never to awaken again. Thus ended the turbulent life of a woman whose story had profoundly influenced the course of history. Many historians argue that Chen Yuanyuan, as a woman, had an unparalleled impact on the rise and fall of a dynasty, an exceedingly rare phenomenon. Setting aside historical controversies, Chen's ability to earn Wu Sangui's enduring devotion and her willingness to endure scorn from the world for his sake may have represented, for her, a bittersweet form of solace amidst the chaos of her time. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.